Well, hello. Michelle Walker Wade here, Pastor Michelle. And this should be a quickie, episode 6 of Words About Work, Wealth, and Money. Episode 6, yay, about words about work, wealth, and money. And today I want to talk about, um, I had a few people just this week. I probably heard this 3 times this week. People wanting to, where everything going on with the racial tensions and everything. Because of everything that's been going on, people who never knew about Tulsa Black Wall Street are learning about it. And this is people of all colors, blacks, everybody. And it's just amazing to me that there are so many black people who never heard of Tulsa Black Wall Street. Um, our perspectives would probably have been much different if we knew that there was ever such thing as Tulsa Black Wall Street. And Tulsa wasn't the only place that had blacks who owned businesses and just a whole community and almost a homestead, just a big community of blacks, and they owned all the businesses, and black dollars could stay in black communities. We've been talking about this for a long time, but apparently people are just now getting the message, and it's good as long as you get it. Now this is what I want to talk about. So I've probably just this week, 3 completely different, completely unattached, don't know one another, don't even live in the same area. One lives in a completely different state. But they're talking about, let's build a Tulsa Black Wall Street. So they're getting together groups of networks of black people, or some people are just still talking about it, still kicking ideas around in their head, getting together with groups of blacks and getting everyone to start businesses and fund the businesses and everything, and so we can create this 21st century Tulsa Black Wall Street, this year 2000 Tulsa Black Wall Street type of environment. And even if we were ready to start it today, it takes so much time to build these things. So I'm going to share a few things I heard said, or I was told, and I'm going to share my response with all of you. All right, so just to the general discussion about people starting businesses. So here is one of them. Someone wants to start kind of like a co-op of all black-owned businesses that all occupy a same strip of land, or like a strip mall. So in order for your business to move into this place, it has to be a black-owned business. And that it would, in order to help people get the business started, they would like attend a few classes, get some training, get some mentoring, start their businesses. There would be funders involved. The funders would be black. In both cases, everything's supposed to be black. In both of these cases. Well, one of them first was saying all black, and then as the conversation went on, said, oh, well, I guess we can have various races. It can't be all black. And so I was kind of glad to hear that, because I'm very pro-black, but I am pro-people. Pro-people. Y'all have heard me say this before. Everybody needs a business. Okay, great. Tulsa Black Wall Street, we want to recreate it. Sure, let's go for it. Let's do it. However, if any group of people are going to be sustained, we're going to have to work together. All right. So we can look out and we see, what the Chinese have Chinatown and all that. They worked together to get Chinatown, and they didn't do it without, and to some degree, acquiescing to white people or involving white people. They didn't just come here from China on their own, and start building businesses. Now, at this point in the game, they may not so much need to involve white people, but they're not necessarily excluding white people. In fact, a lot of our Chinese business owners, one thing about Asian people, they can adapt to whatever the circumstance is, and they adapt to it for the time that they need to. That's something that Blacks don't do very well. We can assimilate to some degree, but when you push the right button, we don't have the ability to keep that assimilation in quite frequently. We're so upfront and uh, keeping it 100. That's you don't really you just kind of, a lot of times Black people are at face value, and because we're so face value, we have a different, it's difficult for us sometimes to read between lines and read when people are not being at face value with us and kind of talking, on softer, sly kind of ways. We can't read it. It exhausts me to have to read it. I can, but I really rather not. I really rather you just tell me what it is and then we can deal with it. And I really rather just tell you what it is. It exhausts me to have to try and figure out how not to say it that way, but to say it, a nicer, softer way. I'd rather just get it out so we can both know very clearly and very plainly what's going on, and we can make good, wise decisions based on what has been said. However, it's not really going to work out for you if you're going into business. Yeah, it's just not, because so sales really means identifying with the customer. And when you identify with the customer, and this is something Asian people can do. If you ever walked in like the Black owned beauty salon, now the guy behind the counter might stay in his his real person, but some person may come from behind the counter and start talking to you just like she's Black. Tonation, dialect, word choice. So anyway, back to my point. Having a completely Black-owned business, Black-owned real estate, Black-owned commercial real estate, Black funders, the Black bank, uh, and the products, in both cases, all except for one product was even for whomever. Okay, so I think that's going to be a challenge, and I think you can. It's not that you can't have an association that's for all Black owned, but when you come to start trying to put all those pieces together, uh, that's going to be a challenge. And just getting enough funders is going to be a challenge. And this is to both of them, getting people taught and trained and mentored enough in how to manage and run and own a business. A business is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But anyway, I think it's going to be a challenge, but doesn't mean it's not impossible. You can do it. But I think we should not be necessarily, regardless of what's going on, we shouldn't necessarily just keep looking to see how can we further separate and further divide us. We really should be looking for ways to bring us together. You see the little sign that says coexist, and I think it has a lot of other meanings to it, but we need to be looking at a way to bring us together. The key to bringing us together, this is the key, because so many other races already understand money. If you don't understand money, business is going to be hard for you. They understand money. They already understand business. They understand sales. They can, sales. And this is, because they've been running businesses. They're kind of ahead of the game. And some Blacks own their own business and really run them well. So I'm not saying we don't. We have them, but we're talking about getting a conglomerate of businesses. That's going to be a lot of training. And if you involve other cultures, other races of people into your conglomerate, into your co-op, what will probably end up happening is the people from the other races are going to already be more, have more business what's the word I'm trying to say? Be more business inclined than, because that's a whole mentality that if you have an employee mentality, breaking down that employee mentality so you can have a business mentality is challenging. However, once you get a business mentality, you will understand why your employers act the way they act towards you. and say the things they do and make the rules they make. You'll understand. Once you start really running a business, you will understand. All right. So the one thing I said to one of the people I was talking to, I said, that's great, but what you want to do when you're talking to people about businesses is you're looking for real businesses, businesses that provide, number one, things that people really need. The thing about Tulsa Wall Street, the Tulsa Black Wall Street, is they were providing the services and the products that people need. There were dry cleaners. What black person want to wash clothes? There were dry cleaners, grocery stores. Of course, there were hair supplies, hair supplies and hairdressers. Sure, we can have those, but we need those, but those aren't the things that would make a Tulsa Black Wall Street work. What's going to make a Tulsa Black Wall Street work is people have businesses providing services, products and services of necessities, of life necessities. You can have included in your conglomerate of business owners, people who provide services that people just want. But what makes it work, what makes it self-sustaining, is the things that people need. The things that people need. So that's what's the things, real businesses. I also said to one person, you're going to have to define what you mean by business, because there's we talked about the multi-level marketing businesses. You can have a multi-level marketing business. Those businesses, especially ones that require you to recruit people in order to boost income, which most of them do, you'll pretty much never get a self-sustaining income off of selling the products alone, or off of selling the services alone. And almost all of those, and all of them, multi-level marketing, the real income, the real boost in income comes from keeping a continuous flow of new people coming in under you, and those people have to keep selling. Now you, as the up lead, are now not only selling your own products, but you're training them, you're teaching them, you're motivating them, you're always on calls with them to keep them moving, inviting them to this event and the other event, and all that type of stuff. And you're recruiting more people. And that's the thing that makes multi-level marketing work. Just as being a tax preparer and a bookkeeper, very few of my customers, my clients who have multi-level marketing business, or who had a multi-level marketing business, very few of them netted a profit. All right, very few netted a profit, and none of them had a self-sustaining profit. Like, this is all I can just do this and only this and make enough money. So those aren't really the businesses we're talking about. We're talking, again, necessities, things that people need, and things that actually make enough money to support the endeavor that you're making. If you're going to have investors investing in your business, they want to know before they invest that you have an extremely high likelihood of being successful. Success is measured by gross profit, expenses, and net profit. And if you are carrying any debt, if you have borrowed money, that's how they're going to look at success. It's going to be about money. It's not going to be as a cute shop. It's not going to be as it open all the time. It's not going to be people walking in and out of the store all the time. They'll enjoy hearing those stories, but they're going to want to see the money. And some of them will want to see like line for, yeah, they will. They might. Yeah, some probably just want, as long as you give them their money back with their interest, they'll be all right. But that's how they're going to measure the success of the business. Your grand opening with all the lights and the camera and the action and the balloons and the open the grand opening event and everybody coming, that's great. That's a good start. Investors, most investors who normally invest in business know a lot of times it takes a long time to get things going and to actually uh, not just make a sale, but make net revenues. That's net profits. They want to see you making revenues. They want to see those revenues are increasing. They're going to want to see those revenues are consistent, but they're going to want to see more money kept than spent. All right, net profits and their money paid back to them with the interest that was promised to them. That's what success to an investor means. That's what it means. All right. So we need people who want real businesses, and that takes a lot of work. Takes a lot of work to get those going. Takes a lot of work to do the research. You know, some things don't take it. Like if you were to do a franchise, you wouldn't have to do so much research. You just need to get the funding to start it. You know, so you know, this conglomerate of businesses, a few people up in and who are part of it can have a franchise. But you got to know this, even with franchises, um, you have to read all the details on the franchise, because some franchises will require you as the owner to always 100% work full-time in that business, and some will let you hire managers. And so, you know, really look at it. All right, so let's see. I said, you know, if you're going to get investors, I started off by saying it this way, and I kind of said it like this on purpose. So what are you going to do? Like do a crowdfund or something for investors? And the person was like, well, no, I haven't really thought, but we just get investors. So she just has the big vision, the dream. All right. The one thing you want to remember anytime you start working with investors is there are things called securities laws. You cannot just ask someone to invest in your business. Just invest 10,000. You know, you my buddies, just me and you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't do that because that's illegal. There are securities laws that govern people who are and can invest in your business. Now, some of the ways people get around that is by doing things like crowdfunds, and there's some other crowdfund is the one I mean. There's another funding source, so business funding source. So you can kind of get around them because the whole securities legalities is already built into the platform. But if you're talking about going directly to investors, you're going to need an attorney to be highly involved, an attorney, a CPA, and a tax strategist who has securities law experience. All right. Another thing, if you're going to bring investors in, investors are going to want to know that they're working with people who, like I just said, have a high probability of success. So you have to build into your plan time to train people. There has to be what qualifies a person to be a part of this co-op or this conglomerate that has access to these investors. There has to be some guidelines, some stipulations, some prerequisites, training, in-depth training, and you know, I'm of the mind, because you can go to these trainings and they'll train you, you know, give you these 6 weeks how to start your business and help you do your business plan and all that. Fabulous. Great. Do that. Now, this is where the problem comes in. Very few people know how to manage their business, and this is where businesses fail. If you're not managing your business and managing your workflows and making sure, like, if you have these disjointed processes, and a lot of people are not process oriented, you've got to bring somebody in who's process oriented, who can look at your workflows, look at how things are to move about from here to there, and even, you know, just how is it supposed to work? The process of the day-to-day work should have built into it money management strategies. You should not be just doing this over here because this is easy, but then your money is out of control because you don't have money management strategies built into your processes. So one thing I would say that people need to be trained about as you are starting up this Tulsa Black Wallstreet, people must be trained how to manage business. People should take time to think about workflows and should always be ready to adjust that workflow as the business starts and you see something isn't working out quite well. You can adjust your workflows, but never think about your workflow separate from the money. Your workflow, all of the processes in the middle if it's a service, all of the inventory in the middle if it's a product, all and the money coming in and going out should be all embedded in the workflow of the business so that the money management part of the business can be easily completed, can be done timely, can be done accurately, so that you can give reports to your investors on a regular and ongoing basis, and those reports are accurate and full of integrity. All right, so you want to build that into that training. Another thing, one of the people I was talking to was talking about they're going to go and start an LLC, and I was like, whoa, hold up, not so fast. Let's talk about the business. Like, what are your plans? What are your goals? Who's your target customer? Is this just a side business, or are you just going to how are you going to keep working as part of your retirement plan? What? So we had to talk about the details at a high level, because the details of the vision. And at the end of, after I heard everything that was being said, there would be a need for an LLC eventually, but you didn't need an LLC right now. To go get an LLC right now, and I'm not going to give you the details of why, what it was, but for this person to go out and get an LLC right now would simply mean they're going to start paying the minimum taxes due on an LLC. If you have an LLC, whether you make money or not, you pay an $800 a year tax on the first X number of dollars of income, including zero. So if you make no money and you have an LLC, you're still going to pay $800 tax. So you don't want to get that LLC too soon. So that was one advice I told that person. Told him just to start, just do your sole prop. Start with your sole prop. And the concern was he didn't want to use the Social Security number. You can get an EIN number, employer identification number, as a sole prop. You don't need to be an LLC to get an EIN number. Okay, you can get it as a sole proprietor. But getting the sole proprietor, and the other thing is, if you really weren't ready to start selling, if you're only just spending money to kind of get the business started, you can go ahead and I would go ahead and get the sole prop, just so I have some place to put the money and can track it ongoing. And then eventually, when you're ready, when this person for the business they wanted to do, they would need an LLC pretty sooner rather than later. But when they did that, then they can close the sole prop and take the money out of the sole prop, put it in the LLC, and get started with the proper protection. The other thing I told this person, I said, you might have this LLC, but for the operation side of the business, you might have an S corp. But then, as they told me what their vision was, it probably was going to end up happening for this person, if they won't have an S corp, what they'll have is probably a nonprofit. They might have an S corp too. But anyway, they wanted to do some things with grants, and so for that one, it would have been better to involve in some degree or another in a nonprofit. You can have a nonprofit that serves a certain population of people to resolve a certain societal issue, and the S corp or the LLC that has like a partnership or a joint venture or something like that with that nonprofit organization. Or the nonprofit organization can own a for-profit entity. All right, it's possible. It's some real tricky bookkeeping, but it is possible. Right? So that was them, but that was that. But my advice to that person was, hold on, don't get that LLC so fast. And I think that's it. Oh, one person I talked to wanted to have a Black-owned real estate company funded by Black-owned funders that only provided housing for Blacks. You can't do that because you're going to get hit with discrimination laws. All right. I appreciate and I love seeing the energy and excitement that people are having um, as they learn about Tulsa Black Wallstreet. But what you got to remember, what everyone needs to remember is that the success is in the details. Visions are great. You can't get anywhere without having a vision. If you want that vision to be successful, it's in the details. Success is in the details. Details require strategic planning. All right, step by step by step. Can you just jump out there and start doing something? You probably can. You're probably not going to get an investor if you just jump out there. There's some who will do it, the hard money lenders, maybe. Um, Jumping out there and starting, depending on what it is. If you have to put, if it's something that you don't have to put a lot of money up front to just jump out and do, you can make it work. But some you got to put a lot of money into up front, you count up the costs. What man starts a business without, what man builds a house without first counting up the cost to make sure he can finish it so the job doesn't get half done and people are looking on and saying, this is a scripture. And people are looking on and saying, ha ha ha, that man started building a house without even thinking about what all it was going to require for that house to be built. Shame on him. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but I will put the scripture reference so you can see it. All right, that's it. That's all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed episode 6 of Words About Work, Wealth, and Money. Always feel free to post your questions, post your comments, and buy my service. I'll have conversations with you just so you can talk it all out. Just so you can talk it all out, all right? And that is a service that I offer because people do need to talk it out. All right, I'm done. You guys have a blessed day. I will see you on the next time.